guys, it is January the 3rd, 2024, and I hope everybody's been having a wonderful Friday so far today. It is super duper windy here in South Carolina. I mean windy. So I hope it doesn't cause any problems with the sound, with the wind blowing over the microphone and everything, but try to keep today's video rather short. And I just want to address a question that just keeps popping up over and over and over again. I've made a video about it in the past and spoken about it, but there's so many new subscribers to the channel. I know they don't want to have to scroll through hundreds of videos to try to find that, and it's not like I've ever said recently that I actually have made a video talking about this topic. So I'm just going to go ahead and address it today. And if you've seen me talk about this, or you've heard me talk about this, I'm sorry that I keep repeating this, but I just keep getting the same question. It's every day I get the same question. So I figured, why don't I just make a video and address it? And the question is that, am I available, or am I eligible for a liver transplant? And if so, why haven't I gotten one yet? And the simple answer to that is I'm not eligible for a liver transplant. It's just not possible, at least from what I understand at this point right now. I have spoken with the transplant team a couple times at this point because they got involved when I got my first TIPS procedure done. The TIPS was a failure, and I was dealing with ascites really, really bad during that period, and they were trying to do anything they could to help me out. And the TIPS was going to be placed to help with the flow and stop that back pressure, which would help alleviate the ascites. Well, like I said, the TIPS was a failure. They did cut off half the blood supply to my spleen, which I'm about to be dealing with the same kind of a thing again on the 16th of January when I have my surgery. They have to go in there and reroute the blood because I'm having a lot of problems with varices around my spleen again. So they're gonna, I guess, reroute the blood supply somewhere else. And the thing about it is that when they cut the blood supply off to my spleen, and half of my spleen died while it was inside of me, January of 2023, that was the most painful thing I've ever been through. And that's saying something. With everything that I've dealt with at this point, all the surgeries, my spleen, when they cut off the blood supply to my spleen, that was super, super painful. I just remember waking up on the gurney, and they were rolling me down the hallway, and when I woke up screaming. I mean, screaming at the top of my lungs. My stomach hurt so bad. And I just kept saying over and over again, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts, my stomach hurts. And they took me to my room, and the first thing I asked the nurse for was ice. And she brought me in some bags of ice, and I put it on my stomach. And I kept bags of ice on my stomach for basically a week while I was in the hospital. And anyway, my point is that they're going to be doing that procedure again. And when I spoke with the nurse earlier this week, when she called to tell me when my procedure was going to be, I asked her, I said, is this going to be as painful as it was the last time? Because that was really bad. And she said, I didn't realize that you went through so much in that procedure. I guess we're going to have to just play it by ear. Because I had asked her, am I going to be staying overnight? And she said, no, you'll probably be going home that day. And when I told her about the amount of pain that I had, she kind of was like, okay, well, we'll have to see. If you wake up and you're in a ton of pain this time again, then you're probably going to end up staying. She said, just bring an overnight bag with you. And, if we do keep you, it'll probably just be overnight. So we'll just have to see how this all pans out. Like I said, that's on the 16th. I'm going down there on the 15th. And spending the night down there, and then my procedure is the next day. Anyway, so I've got to have that procedure on the 16th, and I'm really not looking forward to this, but it is what it is. I have to do what I have to do in order to be as healthy as I possibly can. But back to the liver transplant, like I said, I spoke with the liver transplant team during that time. The doctor had spoken to my mom and to my wife and told them, the TIPS didn't work out. And the next day, the liver transplant team came in to speak to me because, the tips, they basically told me that they weren't going to be able to do another attempt on the tips procedure because I guess that when they do that, it can cause a lot of damage when they're trying to place it in. And there was a clot in my portal vein they just could not break through, and they tried over and over and over again. I was in surgery for I don't remember, it was all day long, hours, like 8.5, 9 hours or something like that. It was all day long thing. And they just could not break through the clot. So he said, we're gonna have to look at some other options. And he told my mom and my wife that, we might be needing to look at a liver transplant. And then the transplant team came in to speak to me the next day, and they said, we're sorry, but with all the blood clotting problems that you have and that blockage in your portal vein, that we cannot do a transplant with that. So that's basically, the gist of it, is that I guess when they do a liver transplant, they utilize a lot of they reuse the portal vein, and I guess a lot of those other veins that go into the liver, and if there's problems with those, they can't utilize it. It's just not going to be viable for them to do that. At the same time, I don't know if, I've spoken about this, I don't think I'd be comfortable taking a liver anyway, just because, I caused all this damage myself, and I would feel guilty taking a liver from somebody else who didn't cause damage to themselves, someone who didn't drink their liver away the way that I did. I drank for decades and destroyed my liver. And, why is it okay for me to take a liver away from somebody, that didn't do that? Maybe somebody ended up taking medication that caused them liver problems, or, maybe something that was in the environment that they lived in caused liver problems, or something with the food or water or something. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that people, or just genetics. There are a lot of reasons that people end up with liver disease, and it's not all because of drinking. And, I don't know how I would feel about taking a liver away from somebody else that deserved it more than I do. But it's neither here nor there really at this point, because they've told me that I'm not eligible for one anyway, and maybe at some point it might be a conversation to have with another hospital, maybe another doctor, and see what they might be able to do. I was really hoping that at some point that the technology would advance to where they could to where they might be able to repair my liver, or maybe there's some kind of medication that they end up developing at some point in the near future that I might be able to take that could help reverse it, or whatever. You just never know what they're moving towards. And every day these scientists and doctors, they're coming up with all kinds of stuff, and there's people out there working day and night, working themselves crazy trying to come up with cures for diseases. And I know there are people out there working towards cures for liver disease. One of the subscribers shared an article with me a few months back where they were talking about how they were working towards reversing cirrhosis, and they're working towards a cure for it right now as we speak. So maybe sometime in the near future I might be able to, maybe take some kind of medication or have some kind of procedure done that can reverse this. But at this point now, too, I have 6 stents in my liver. There's a lot of stents going through there. And I've had a lot of work done. I had ascites back in 2023 at the beginning of the year, and knock on wood, but I haven't had ascites since. So what they're doing is working. I still deal with a lot of stuff. I deal with, more or less, I would say probably the 2 biggest things I deal with having liver disease, like the 2 biggest side effects of it would be the nausea and the fatigue. I'm always fatigued. I'm always tired. It's such a chore some days just to get out of the bed. And I have to really make myself get up and move around some days because I'm just so tired. It's not the way that I used to be. I used to be so full of energy before my diagnosis. I mean, to the point that I annoyed people because I was just so wound up all the time, and I was always on the go, always moving around, always doing something. I just never sat still, and that's not the case anymore. If it wasn't, for my television, I don't know what the heck I would do some days. I do read a lot of books and stuff like that, but there's a lot of days where I'm just stuck laying in the bed watching television all day, and there's not much else I can do. I just feel horrible. And the nausea on top of it, it's like yesterday, I felt nauseous all day yesterday. Took 2 nausea pills throughout the day, and they just make me so sleepy. And then ended up having to take another nausea pill last night. It's just, the nausea is constant, and it just comes out of nowhere. I could be completely fine, and within a matter of seconds, I am so nauseous that I can't even think. And I'm so afraid of throwing up. Anytime I've thrown up in the past, I've thrown up blood. I've ruptured a varices while I was vomiting, and ended up in the hospital. And then it turns into this whole humongous problem that I just do not want to go through. So I try my best not to throw up. I will fight it as hard as I possibly can. And I've got some methods that work really well. One of them's drinking ginger ale, and I keep mints on me everywhere I go. Those help a lot. Cold compresses on the forehead work really well. Sometimes I just have to strip off all my clothes and just lay in the bed with the fan on, because when I get nauseous, it makes it really hot too, and I'll start sweating really bad. Ginger helps. I'll drink ginger tea. There are just certain things that I can do to help improve. My nausea medication, the Zofran, I take that. And, a lot of times too, I just got to make sure that I have something in my stomach. And there's, most of the time I have absolutely no appetite. I have to make myself at least drink a protein shake to make sure I've got something in my stomach. Because if I don't force myself, I can go all day without eating anything. And then next thing you know, I end up super nauseous, and it's just a huge problem. But I'm getting way off the subject here. Like I said, the whole point of making this video today was just to kind of answer, people's questions about why I don't have a liver transplant, why I haven't gotten a liver transplant. It's because the liver transplant team said it was just not an option for me at this time. And I haven't gotten to the point where, I'm dealing with really bad ascites and all that stuff all over again right this moment. So it's not something I've really pressed really hard. And I've had so many problems that just keep popping up. It's right when I think that everything's A-okay and I'm starting to do better, the next thing you know, I end up getting sick and end up in the hospital or something. And it's just stuff like that just keeps popping up over and over again. It kind of hinders me being more proactive and trying to maybe speak to new doctors about getting another opinion and stuff like that. And at some point, I will speak to another doctor if, I feel like, they're not answering the questions or giving me more options at MUSC. But the thing is that MUSC has been nothing but honest with me. They have, they've done a superb job of taking care of me. I mean, they have literally saved my life multiple times at the hospital. I feel like that they have nothing but my best interests in mind, and they're doing everything in their power to help me stay alive as long as possible. And, I just feel like that, especially interventional radiology and my pancreatic doctor, I mean, those guys, they know what they're doing. And, the liver transplant hasn't even, come up on the table since that time that I spoke with the transplant team back in January of 2023. It just has not come up ever again. And if it ever does, then maybe we can have that conversation. But like I said, I'm not dealing with ascites real bad. The tips that they placed, I've had some problems with the clotting and stuff, but it's doing its job. It did its job for over a year, and I didn't have any problems up until just this past October of this year, or last year. And I had that placed in June of 2023 when they finally were able to get that TIPS in there. So from June of 2023 all the way to October of 2024, I pretty much dealt with no problems until I ended up with that initial clot. And I've had it clot up on me twice, and they're saying that one of those stents might be clogged up again. But they're going to look at that when I go in to have my procedure done on the 16th, and if there's something there that they need to address, they're going to take care of it. So we'll just see what happens. But that's why it's not that, like it hasn't come up and we haven't talked about it. It's just, it's not an option for me in the moment. And like I said, I just don't even know how it actually even really feel. I know deep down inside that I really don't feel comfortable getting another liver from somebody. There's just so many people out there who need livers, and there's only a limited supply of them. And, I just don't feel like it'd be fair for me to get one with, the fact that I destroyed mine because of drinking. And there's a lot of people out there who say, you should go ahead and get one and all this kind of stuff, and that, just because I drank mine away doesn't mean I don't deserve it. And I get all that stuff, and I appreciate everybody saying that. I really do. And I know that you guys just want to see what's best for me and see me live as long as possible. And I really do appreciate that, guys. I mean, I really, really do. But like I said, at this moment, it's just not an option for me. But we'll see in the future what comes up. Like I said, I'm really hoping that they can advance the technology to the point that maybe they come up with some kind of medication or a procedure that they can go in there and reverse it, maybe turn it around, and maybe I can live to be an old man. But we'll just have to wait and see how it all pans out. But I hope that answers your questions for today. Like I said, it's all the clotting that I have in the blood vessels going to the liver. My portal vein has had a total blockage in it multiple times. It was totally blocked up the past 2 times I went to the hospital. I had a total occlusion. And I'm sure that with all the clotting problems that I've been dealing with, they don't want to give me another liver and then have me end up with a blood clot in the brand new liver that I just get, and then something go wrong, and then they're doing surgery again. It's just going to be a huge mess. Just having a liver transplant alone is not a simple procedure. It's a very, very big deal, and the recovery on that takes forever by itself. They basically cut you open, from your belly button all the way up. And it's like the guy that has the show, the Willpower podcast. I mean, he had a liver transplant, and when we talked, he was telling me about how bad it was, recovering from that. It's not an easy surgery to recover from. I think it took him almost a year to recover from that. He's got a huge scar, all the way up his stomach now from that. And he had a lot of complications from his liver transplant too. He had to have, I think, his whole colon, or a majority of his colon, removed. I think it burst at some point when he was in the hospital. I mean, he dealt with a lot of stuff. That guy has been through the ringer. I mean, seriously, he's been through a lot. And I thought I'd been through a lot. That guy's been through it. And my hat goes off to him. That he persevered and had the mental capacity to hang in there, because dealing with this stuff can be tough. I mean, it really can be, and it can take a lot out of you mentally. And when you get really stressed out like that and you're really worried about stuff, I mean, not only is it taken out of you mentally, but it physically affects you as well, and it can make you physically ill. When you're dealing with problems like that, it's just not easy to go through. And like I said, my hat goes off to Will. He's been through a lot, and he's still here. And he's back working again. He's back teaching. The guy really is, somebody to look up to. Because of the amount of stuff that he's been through, and continues to fight every single day, because he wants to be here. And when I see people like that, it inspires me. And I hope that anybody out there who's dealing with any illnesses, because for any reason, I hope that by me coming on here and sharing my story and talking with you guys, and talking about all the things that I've been through, that I can help inspire you too. That if you are dealing with medical problems, it's not entirely the end of the world, and we can live through this stuff. You know, our life isn't going to be the exact same that it was before, but we can adapt and, you know, figure it out and just keep moving forward and living our lives. You know, like I said, it might not be the same life it was before, but it's worth living and it's worth being here for. And like I said, I hope that by me coming on here every single day and sharing the stuff that I go through, that it can help inspire any of you guys that are dealing with any kind of medical problems or whatever problems that you're going through in life, that life goes on, and we got to stand up tall and just, you know, just keep pushing forward, because life isn't easy. It can be really tough sometimes, but, you know, we can be tougher than that, and we can just keep pushing forward and living our life and not let that define us. But anyway, guys, I think that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I hope that answers your questions about if I'm eligible for a liver transplant or why I haven't gotten one yet. But with that said, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day today. I hope you have a great start to your weekend tomorrow. And I will see everybody tomorrow afternoon. I love you guys so much. And until then,